Hello, today we will be reviewing the Yoga 3 Pro. The Yoga 3 Pro is the successor to the Yoga 2 Pro. What did Lenovo change in this model? It has been made thinner and even more lighter than the previous model. Now, to do that, Lenovo needed to step down on the processor, which is an Intel Core M5Y70 processor with a base clock of 1.1 GHz up to 2.6 GHz. This model also has 8 GB of RAM, an SSD of 256 GB, Broadcom AC wireless cards, and a Quad HD panel. The Quad HD panel is the same panel found in the Yoga 2 Pro, but we will go more in detail on the panel later because there are some differences. Then we have a 4-cell battery and Windows 8.1. Now, as I open these flaps, the box rises, and here is the Yoga 3 Pro. It's orange. Now, okay, it's a little difficult to open. Okay, now here it is. Now we see here the new hinge, which is the smartband hinge, because Lenovo made the Yoga 3 Pro thinner. It's also more susceptible to damage, or easier to damage, especially the hinges, because if you roughly open the lids, these points are maybe fragile. So Lenovo decided to go with the smartband hinge to spread these stress points at the back of the laptop. This increases durability along down the road. Also here you see the display cable, and plus the new hinge also has a good feeling when you're holding it, and you can hear the watch sound. You know those watches when you I don't see much. I believe here are the speakers and the screws over here. It's maybe hardly visible, but if you plan on opening it up, you may need a TX3 screwdriver. Okay, what can we see about the keyboard? It is a 5-row keyboard. There is no function key row. You need to press the event key to access these function keys. Now, it is not as bad as the X1 Carbon 2nd generation. The function keys are still easily accessible. And we have here the volume keys, several media keys. Here it's a key to disable audio quickly. Some other media keys. But generally they did a very good job trying to keep the keyboard intact. The palm rest is made of some kind of rubber. It's also slightly textured. This gives an extra good grip. The touchpad has a line here to indicate that this side is left click, this side is right click. I really like this because I felt lost sometimes on the newer clickpads. But the keyboard looks pretty good. Let's start it. Okay. Then what do we have on the display? The display here at the bottom has a dual array microphone, glossy display as you can see because it reflects. But this is normal on consumer grade laptops. Here is the webcam. But okay, there is also a ambient light sensor over here, which is hardly visible in the video, but you can yeah, it's there. Then the display panel, it provides brightness up to 300 nits, which is very good. Might gives you some good, yeah, the brightness is good. Then the contrast we measured with our color calibrator was a little bit on the lower side, but it wasn't, yeah, so low that you need to worry about it. The color accuracy of the new panel, well, most of you may know that there were some color issues with the Yoga 2 Pro. The yellow colors look like mustard. Now the Yoga 3 Pro uses the same panel, but the firmware has been updated. Now we tested the panel at various brightness levels, and we did notice that the colors were calibrated at every brightness level, so you shouldn't worry about any inaccuracies down the road. The yellow colors also look beautiful, by the way. Now, okay, let's now go through the ports, because it's also very important to know what you have on your Ultrabook. And yeah, here is the always on USB port, which is a USB 3.0 port. You can use this port to charge your phone or tablet when the Yoga 3 Pro is turned off. This is a audio jack to plug in your headset or headphones. Here are the volume buttons. This is an auto rotate lock key. Choose this. If you press this, you can lock the rotation of your display, so it doesn't change when you move it around like this. But you should notice it's very useful. Here is the Lenovo key. When your Yoga 3 Pro is turned off, you can hold this key to start recovery mode or get into the BIOS. This here is the power button. Now also note the Yoga label over here in the corner, very beautiful. Okay, then over here we have a USB 2.0 port, which is also the charger port. Now it's hardly visible. Okay, now it's visible. You can see it has a different shape. I will show the AC adapter in a minute when I'm done. You can use this port as a USB port, or you can use it to charge your Yoga 3 Pro. So you can only use this port when you are in battery mode to plug in a peripheral. Here is another USB 3.0 port. So you have two USB 3.0 ports, a HDMI 1.4 port, and a media card reader slot. Okay. Then let's go quickly take a look at the AC adapter. Like I said, the AC adapter cable is a USB cable, but just because it's a USB cable, you can't use any random USB cable you want to charge your Yoga 3 Pro. Because there are some extra pins on the inside which are not really visible, but you should know this, so you can't take a random cable. Also, the cable that goes into the Yoga 3 Pro has a different shape. Okay, now let's take a look at the AC adapter USB port. It has output of 40 watts. Yes, 40 watts. Come on, focus. Yes, okay, now you can see the specifications. Now also the build quality of the Yoga 3 Pro, it is made of magnesium aluminium alloy mixed with something else. So this will make sure you have a really strong and robust Yoga 3 Pro, very strong, much stronger than the other convertibles you might find on the market. Okay, let's now open it up and start using it. Okay, yes. Now the keyboard is also backlit, might not be very visible, but you can change it by pressing the F key and then pressing the spacebar key. Now you can see I'm now in a semi-doors environment. The screen reflects a little bit, but everything is still viewable. It comes with a few pre-installed apps, companion, settings. Now what I wanted to show is the Harmony app. Generally the Harmony app can change the color palette of your screen, but you can always choose to disable it. Harmony app over here. Now, if you change modes, the Harmony app will detect it and change the audio scheme and color palette of the display accordingly to the mode. Now, sometimes when it enters book mode or reading mode, you might see a yellowish tint on the screen, but if you disable Harmony, your screen will look normal and perfect. This was an issue I ran into, but there aren't much OEM apps from Lenovo on it, and they can be easily uninstalled, but I won't cover this too long. Now the solid state drive in my model was a device manager, was a Liteon L9G 256 gigabytes, which will provide speeds around 450 megabytes per second. The WLAN adapter is made by Broadcom. Now last year the Yoga 2 Pro used the Intel Wireless N or Wireless AC 7260. But it had quite a few stability issues, and Lenovo decided to throw in this year the Broadcom as well, which is very stable. There are no Wi-Fi issues to be found. I was able to download several files without trouble. So it's definitely good that they included this adapter. Now the Yoga 3 Pro also comes with an Intel adapter, which is a 7265, which is a successor to the 7260. What is new in the Intel WLAN adapter is that lower power consumption and 80 megahertz channel width. But I can't confirm yet if the new WLAN adapter is more stable than last year's or not, but I presume it is. Okay, what is there else to talk about? Okay, the processor. Now, I told you that the Yoga 3 Pro has a Intel Core M CPU, which is the 5Y70 or the slower version of it, but it has a TDP of 5 watts, which means that you can't do much without the CPU starting to throttle. But that doesn't mean that the Yoga 3 Pro is slow. It's quite fast actually. It performs around the same as a i5 from Sandy Bridge, and it performs best in single core situations. So this is a dual core with 4 threads. If only one thread is used, you might be able to see 2.6 gigahertz. But as you use more cores, the operating frequency will lower to stay within the TDP level. So the Yoga 3 Pro may not be good for multi-threaded situations, but it will still perform fine when browsing or doing anything else what you would do on a normal day. The 5 watt TDP isn't really bad, but it's quite good for office writing. Playing games may be an issue because 5 watts isn't enough for rendering 3D games. But in the Windows Store apps may be great. I mean, you should be able to run the Windows Store apps because these don't require much power because they're mostly meant for tablets anyway. But overall, the Yoga 3 Pro is a very well built Ultrabook. If you don't like the Broadwell processor, make sure to take a look at the slightly larger versions. For example, the ThinkPad Yoga 14-inch, ThinkPad Yoga 15-inch, or maybe one of the newer Yogas that may come up in the near future. These will be able to have an Intel Core i7 processor, and the ThinkPad Yoga 15-inch was even able to have 16 gigabytes of RAM and the NVIDIA GeForce GT 840M, which should be good enough to play some 3D games, doing serious work and gaming. Okay, what is there to love about the Yoga 3 Pro? The weight, the thickness. You won't feel it in your backpack. The new display is gorgeous. So that is really good. They really paid attention that the color accuracy of the screen was just right. The brightness may be on the lower side, but it shouldn't anything to worry about. The keyboard, the keyboard has some changes. For example, now it's a 5-row instead of a 6-row. It maybe takes some time to get used to, but it's a great keyboard to use. Touchpad is also great. Didn't find any hiccups. Then the palm rest, which gives you some extra grip, very lovable. The new Hinge, very sturdy. And the build quality material, the materials used for the build, for the chassis. And you get enough boards to choose from. So what is there not to like? Like I said, the Intel Core M processor, but there are alternatives out there from Lenovo. But okay, if you have questions, make sure to ask them below or view the written article on thingscopes.com. Thank you for watching.